Hey, welcome back, Kaiju fans. I'm Mark.
And I'm Robert.
And with this particular episode of the podcast, we're going to do a overall discussion of Monarch Legacy of Monsters Season 2. Just to wrap up the season, Dimitri right now he's working on more YouTube, so check him out. But Robert's here, and we're going to discuss our overall thoughts, where the characters landed, where we think the show is going, how it left off, and what is the possible fate for some of these characters. Because as we all know, we don't see these characters in the actual movies, the actual theatered movies, which is interesting because, there's no discussion whatsoever of them. But we do get key moments of introduction of, like, let's say Apex, and a lot of the characters like Billy Randa, and more history about them, which was done very well, I thought. The only difference is that the actor who plays Billy Randa in the show looks nothing like John Goodman, and the only issue I had with that was they really showed the development of him after, I would say, 54, and they had this motion time, and they would show images of him, and then it jumps from like 70s. Now, mind you, John Goodman played him in 73. He looks nothing like it in 71.
Well, the only way to actually fix that would be to do what Hollywood is doing with trying to make him look younger.
Yeah,
Which I'm sure they would rather spend the money on
CG.
on the CG of the monsters as opposed to a CG of just trying to make a character look like John Goodman.
Yeah, exactly. I understood the difference between having two different actors, and one being younger, but they should have just skipped that, I thought. But that was my feeling. Rob, what was your overall thought of the season? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you feel like I did, where it had key moments and key points within the season that made sense for the characters and where the show is going?
My opinion on this, it's interesting. I find the show to be entertaining, and the fact that they're going through the whole history of Monarch, which is something that nobody, I don't think nobody asked for, but it still is something that got me intrigued. I think season one kind of established a lot of things. Season two became a little too, what I would say, it just seemed like the monster of the week. I thought that Titan X was a horrible design
Mm.
for that monster, and that's the type of monster that I will go, well, you see it in one or two episodes and that's it. But it became like the focal point of the entire season. So for me, it just didn't do anything for me. It has some interesting things about, the history of it, but in the end, it's just a mother that, and yeah, and if, I'm sure there are
Yeah.
spoilers in this
Oh, yeah.
podcast, but in the end, it just turns out that it's a mother that wants to, just lay an egg and go home. And it was just like, okay, that means nothing to me.
Yeah.
The drama between the characters kind of got very WB at one point,
Mm.
which I could take it or leave it or whatever it is. And what was always interesting, what was interesting from this first season was what's his name? Billy.
Yes.
Billy Randa, or what's his name? Last name Randa
Yeah.
also?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Billy Randa, which he has two families. He has,
Oh, that's
you know,
Hiroshi. You're thinking about
oh,
Hiroshi
Hiroshi. I'm sorry,
Randa.
Hiroshi.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Hiroshi has two families, has been kind of going back and forth between them. That was something that was very interesting, and just you're kind of waiting for shit to explode because you're like, oh, once these two families know what's going on, this guy's in big trouble. That being said, the fact that Kate and who's the other kid's name?
Kintaro.
Kintaro. So Kate and Kintaro, being siblings and trying to kind of figure out, where to go from, with all this stuff, which it's a thing that you have to kind of take into mind. It's like, wow, okay, my dad had another family and I have a brother now or whatever it is. But it was intriguing to know why all these things were happening, his motivation of why he did what he did. Little did we know that it just runs in the family. Uh, those things were interesting. Trying the politics of trying to get Monarch up and going because of the government. That was interesting. In the second season, it just seems like it was just like, hey, you have the company. What's it called?
Apex.
Apex. So as we all know, Apex is the one that creates Mecha Godzilla,
Hmm.
and we all know that this is like, how can I say? I don't know why they're trying to make it such a mystery on what they're trying to do when we already have a movie that says what they did.
Yes, because this takes place in the past at this point. This is
Right.
years before that particular film happened.
Right. This is years before the second movie
Hmm.
in the Godzilla franchise.
Yeah, it
Uh,
was in between.
King of the Monsters
Yep, King of the Monsters, and
and the
then
first Godzilla.
the Godzilla versus Kong.
Um, no,
You think it's before Godzilla King of the Monsters?
I think it's before Godzilla King of the Monsters because a lot. That's why I'm saying a lot of people are wondering. Wait a minute. At the end of the season,
Hmm.
we see Rodan,
Yeah.
and some people are wondering how the hell is Rodan showing up now when he showed up in King of the Monsters, and it seems like King of the Monster was the first time people have seen that. So I could be
Yeah.
wrong. I could be this could be taking place after King, but I doubt it because Monarch. I doubt it because a lot of the characters
Hmm.
from the movie in King of the Monsters for Monarch seemed huge now, like global huge,
Yes. In the
right?
show, it's global huge, whereas before, like by the time of the movies, it was almost underground.
No, 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 no. I think it was different because, like in King of the Monsters, they have bases everywhere around the world. They have a freaking flying fortress that,
Uh,
flying wing that just, bigger than anything.
yeah.
It seems like there is so much money that has been poured into this organization,
Hmm.
but then they leave it off at the end of this season, like, oh, Monarch is going to start into this little office.
Back to where it originated from, which was like deep in the. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, I
So
know.
that's why to me it's kind of like, oh, okay, this has to take place. We all know that D-Day took place, whatever it is,
G-Day. Yep.
or G-Day or whatever. But that's the only thing they ever reference. If
Hmm.
not, they would have referenced the other movie saying, hey, King Ghidorah was in it.
Hmm.
Rodan was in it, all these things. But now they show Rodan, and you're like, wait a minute. But now they're showing Rodan, and
Hmm.
hey, Axis Mundi, somehow there's some time dilation there, but yet
Hmm.
in the movie there's not. So how are they
Yeah.
going to explain that? And from what I heard that Axis Mundi is more like a in between world between that and the world in the movies.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of things that you're like, wait a minute, but whoever is coming up with this shit, I hope that in season 3 you somehow tie it all together where you go, oh, okay, that makes sense now.
Yeah.
But
They.
yet,
Yeah.
right now, it's not making any sense.
Yeah, they need to tie in the continuity based upon the movies with the show.
Correct.
And that's where people are starting to get upset. Now you got all the movie fans that are strictly just movies. You got the show fans or even casual viewers saying, "Oh, this is a family thing. We could watch this as a family as like almost like dedicated TV." But there's confusion in the ranks of, oh, okay, because the first season started off with John Goodman from the movie Skull Island on with a missing clip of John Goodman throwing
Correct.
the case into the water, and that's how this all spawned.
Which I'm trying to figure out. How the hell did that happen when John Goodman was with the group at all times in Kong?
Hmm.
When did he all of a sudden veered off to throw some shit out in the ocean and then go right back to the group? Again,
Exactly.
there's that.
Yep.
There's the whole thing where the other thing that really 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 confused me
Hmm.
was the Lee Shaw talking to himself in the past.
Hmm.
Wouldn't you have remembered that?
That's exactly what I was thinking when I was watching. Dimitri and I were referencing that you would think as he was having that conversation, memories would come in and him knowing what to say because he has the now memory of that experience of what happened. Because,
Exactly.
yeah, I
That
got it.
that just seemed like, oh, wait a minute. So are we going back now? Are we doing some multi universe shit now?
Yeah,
Where,
you're
so
changing
it's
the
just
timeline in your branching. We kind of talked about that a little bit,
yeah,
but
it seems like it's that because honestly, there's just so much. If they're trying to retcon a lot of the things from the movies, I would understand, but the movies are still going on. So it's not
mm-hmm.
like they just say, okay, no more movies,
Yep,
right?
yep,
The movies are still going on, and somehow the movies relate to each other.
yeah,
So not sure what's going on there. I'm waiting for season three to kind of explain it all. A little bit on the development of like let's say Kate Randa and Kentaro and all those people are just seem to be, and of course May too. It seems like a jumbled mess
yes.
in this season compared to last season.
It was well executed last season, even for some of it that was vague. But within this one, they were struggling with the characters. If you watch this season again, and if you have the time, everybody, I kind of mentioned it where Kate's character went from last year or last season hating all kaiju, and Kentaro was there for the journey to find their father, Hiroshi. And now Hiroshi is not Hiroshi. Kentaro is working with Elizabeth with Apex unknowingly because he's against it because now he hates all kaiju and he wants them dead. But he also wants to utilize the Axis Monday of it all to go back in time to get his dad out of Axis Monday at a different branch. And then Kate's all lovey dovey with the monsters because she's got this connection, like Miki Saigusa in the Heisei series of the Godzilla series from Toho, where she
Right.
could talk and communicate or feel and sense of Titan X. And it's like, oh, the other thing I was waiting for is like, are we gonna get these like Asian twins coming out and then summoning Mothra or something? and
Yeah.
and I'm like, okay, I could see it. They're kind of showing a nod to it. I'm like, okay, I could get it. It happened in Toho. They're gonna do that with this to give that little nod to it, which is good. But I felt the chase of the Titan throughout the whole season was a pain in the neck. It's like, oh, that was a whale. They find like they're censoring whatever activity and they find out, oh, it's a whale, and it
Right.
wasn't Titan X. Titan X is out of its regular path because when it does come back up or whatever, it makes its rounds and then goes back in. So due to Monarch and Apex at this point interfering with it, that is why she laid her egg on, of all things, on a beach. You would think it would be something different, more foresty or something like that. And then there's the fear of, with Shaw trying to utilize Godzilla to kill Titan X because they think of it as a threat. But I liked some of the things that Shaw in the past did, as well as Shaw in the new or the current day version of him with Kurt Russell and Wyatt Russell. I like that kind of interaction, but that whole time difference in memory thing was one thing that flawed me. I did, however, like the Keiko situation where even Shaw says it at one point, and I've been waiting for it ever since they brought her back, going, hey, let's take care of your grandkids. It was never acknowledged that these are her grandchildren.
Right.
And then, but they did do the due diligence of her getting into an argument with her own son, Hiroshi, about having two separate families. Like she gave him the verbal smackdown of it. So that was at least brought up.
Which for me, it was one of like, I was like, bitch, please, you're with two men, okay? So don't
Exactly.
even give me that.
Which
That
they
shit runs
actually
in the family, all right? So don't give me that.
yep.
You have a lot of nerve to actually, reprimanding your own son about what he did. Granted that she didn't have kids with
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 Shaw
Lee,
or yeah.
and stuff like that. But still, you did the same exact thing. Oh, you fell in love with two women. Well, you fell in love with two men. So you know what? It runs in the family. Period.
Which is
You
funny
know,
too, because they also do bring up the fact that Hiroshi is not even Billy's son. She had a husband before who died, and that came up. At least we got a history about Hiroshi and why he is, completely Japanese.
right,
They did bring up to, which was a nice kind of way of explaining why his accent or the way he talks in Japanese is different than others, because she left him, or Billy left Hiroshi with her parents in Japan.
right.
So that way is a different area. So the dialect's a little bit different. I knew this because I have a friend who teaches English out in Japan. And he
Mm,
goes, yeah, if you go from different areas, they have a different way of speaking at times, or it sounds a little different. You have to get used to it. But it was pretty cool. With certain moments where Keiko and Kate are understanding one another and working together. But she also does the double back of like, I'm gonna go back to America. I caused this to happen. I being guilty about bringing Titan X into the world, or that it
right.
was because she felt it was her fault and not guilt. I felt that the show needed not more monsters of the week, but at least consistent monsters of the focal point, because that's what it is. It's called Legacy of Monsters, but we didn't. The only monster we saw was Titan X, and if and when we did, because it was always every time we saw it, it was coming up on land or it was being
That and
tracked
the
and traced.
and the crabs that Titan X has, which
Yes,
there's
this
medication for that, but
yeah, scarabs that it's there. It was almost like I said it was like krill or something around a whale or something that it has all these little animals around it. Also
yeah.
reminded me of Cloverfield at one point too.
Oh yes, exactly. As soon as I saw it, I was like, okay, this is going into the Cloverfield, territory.
Mm,
My whole thing is that what I wish, if they, like I said, Monster X was just basically a mom trying to lay an egg, and that
yeah.
was it. And what I wish that they would have done is probably go into more of, okay, since the movie Godzilla versus Monsters starts to reveal that there are a lot more of these titans
Hmm.
all over the world,
Yep.
this would have been a good opportunity to start exploring some of those legends throughout history. Okay, Loch Ness Monster, all these things that could have, because we, of course, human history has legends of all kinds of different, monsters from,
Dragons,
dragons, the phoenix, lake
unicorns.
monsters, whatever it is. They could have kind of gone into that air, that territory
Hmm.
more and start to figure out that these are related to some of the bigger titans or something like that. Or, hey, yeah, the reason these things all of a sudden disappear
Mm,
is because then they go into Axis, Mundi,
correct.
and that's why no matter where you look, it's like, oh, well, there's no, no matter how many times we have tried to search and science has tried to, verify these things, we can never find anything. And it's because, oh, that's because they go into hiding.
Mm,
And of course, they go into these portals and that's it. There's nothing. They could have done something like that. They could have
yeah.
really gone into, a lot of that lore,
Hmm.
but it didn't do any of that. It was more like, hey, there's one monster and that was it. I think also that they could have gotten into start explaining just a little bit about the Middle Earth, the whole Middle Earth thing,
Mm, yeah,
right?
the
Because
the lower Earth, or what do they call it? Well, Hollow Earth they call it in the
Hollow
show.
Earth, not Middle Earth. Middle Earth is from Lord of the
Lord of
Rings.
the Rings.
Yeah, the Hollow Earth theory and things like that. Because
Mhm.
in the Hollow Earth, there is no time dilation.
No.
So, so that's why you got these two worlds that you needed to start explaining or leave it off with, hey, there's another place or something like that, or they could
Hmm.
have just done a big portion of that in Axis Mundi. They could have just said, "Oh, let us now go to Axis Mundi, and guess what? now that they spend their time there,
Hmm.
that means that in this world, things will line up with the first movie, second movie, third movie, because
Hmm.
there, over here, time is going a lot quicker than in Access Monday. So then, sure, at some time in the future, you could have a movie where these characters will meet the characters from the movies and stuff like that because all of a sudden they reappear. Or
Correct.
maybe I just gave away, season three. I don't know.
I did like one moment, and it was towards the end. They did show on Skull Island. They did see the firefight battle, the gun shells, and the remains of the other Kongs that were there. And
Right.
you had Keiko and Shaw walking around because that's when they found all of Billy's little drops into Access Monday from all different points of like portal holes to go into Hollow Earth and Axis Monday. And like, Billy actually wrote out, and these were expensive little things that they are like thrown in. They had plaques and stuff on them.
Yeah, it was just like a message in a bottle kind of thing,
Yeah, and
which,
it was good.
yeah, I guess that was another thing that was kind of disappointing.
Hmm.
His he's been trying to prove no, Hiroshi was trying to prove the whole migratory route.
Correct. He was following his father's or Billy's notes and everything, and that's what they kept. And Monarch actually kept it as well. They had
Right.
all of Billy's stuff. That's how all the information came out about the letter to Shaw from Keiko and all the other like routing points of these monsters and key locations of monsters too. You know.
Right. So my whole thing was like, okay, so okay, let's say okay, Hiroshi's trying to find this, right?
Hmm.
But then it just turns out, at least in my the way I saw it, turns out that the reason he was following all this and sending all these things is because he was looking for Keiko.
Yes. Yeah.
Instead of being something more scientific. Because in the beginning, it was all about, hey, where are they coming from? This and that. We got to prove this. We got to prove that. And this one is just him, hey, I just got to go find her.
Yeah, it's his
Right?
obsession of trying to find his wife, who he lost in 1958, was, I believe, because they started in 54, and
Right.
she'd been gone since because she fell in. And then obviously Shaw went back and he had moments. We do get it's funny too, because if I watched the first season, a couple of episodes by accident because I hit the wrong
Right.
thing. I noticed too, it's like the scar is not there on Kurt Russell in the first season, but we get the scar in the very beginning of the season. And I
Oh,
mentioned
we
that,
do? I
yeah,
didn't realize that.
I mentioned it to Dimitri as we were covering it. And I said, hey, I don't remember him having that last season, but and I'm like, what is that? Where did that come from? And of course, we get the explanation of how he got that scar.
Right.
So, and I was like, oh, okay, here it is.
Well, here's
But,
another thing that's also interesting because now that I'm thinking about it, so they find Billy Randa's camera
mm-hmm,
in Skull Island, right? I
yeah,
guess in the spot that he actually was eaten,
mm-hmm,
I guess he dropped the camera.
yeah,
Now think about this. If he's been going around all over the world, his younger self, throwing these message in the bottle type of things,
yeah,
why is it that the group of soldiers and everybody else did not see those canisters in that spot? Because in the
yeah.
movie, those canisters are not there,
Exactly. In key
right?
areas of like the jungle. Or you would think Billy would look for them specifically. Hold on. I gotta go side mission here. I gotta go look for something
Or
I
something,
dropped.
right?
Yeah.
Of course they're doing this after the movie was done because they never thought they were going to do this. But the point is that if you are going to do that, don't freaking put those canisters in the same spot that he just got eaten because then you're going to go back to the movie and go, but those canisters are not there.
Sure.
So
Yep.
it's just a lot of inconsistencies. And I feel like, how can I say? I feel like Monarch is suffering the same thing that Star Wars is suffering,
Hmm.
which is you have people that say that they're fans and they write for these shows, but they want to do their own thing.
Hmm.
And sometimes they don't go by what the lore is. And next thing you know, is because let's be honest, they could give a shit. I'll write my thing. If it is good, no, then I go on to the next job. But what they don't realize is that they leave a wake of destruction that the fans have to deal with.
Hmm.
And that is such a travesty here in these days in Hollywood, where it's like you got all these young writers, they want to make their mark and stuff like that. They say they're fans. Yeah, you're not a fan. You just what you did was you watched a ton of episodes in one day or whatever, read some comic books. Oh, they told you to do this, you did it, and then you went ahead and tried. Nah, that's not a fan.
No.
A real fan will be saying, "Hey, I've been following this thing since I've been a fetus."
Yeah.
Okay, and I live and breathe these things. And now that I have the chance to work in this, I could actually make this something special. Why? Because I know this world so intimately.
Yeah.
But they don't. So that's why I think this show suffers from that.
Mm.
Just like the other shows, Star Wars, Marvel, all those shows that,
Or Trek originally started that back in the 80s with Next Generation. They did have fans submit in screenplays and would
that
buy
I know
them.
they stopped that, but at
Yeah.
least you had real fans, people who were working on this until this day. I mean,
Mm.
that's basically all they worked on because they were such big fans. Nowadays, you have people like like the whoever is destroying the Star Trek universe on Paramount Plus,
I haven't even watched that.
and oh my God, the only one that I like is Strange. What is it? Strange New Worlds or something like that. It's the only one I actually like. The rest have been just pure garbage.
Yeah.
Especially Starfleet Academy. My God, please don't see that. You will actually say, "What the hell just happened?" And
Yeah.
that's what I'm afraid that's going to happen with this show. This show is just going to all of a sudden just have tons of shit that nobody needs, and it's just going to be teen drama, which is already happening.
Mm.
So here's a character that I honestly feel that it's a useless character. May. I'm sorry to say, but I think
She
May.
was, they didn't write too much for her, and she just only worked out because her interaction with Tim. And then her being undercover for Apex. That was all that they utilized her for. She was not of anybody of main interest out of the group.
Right. And then
Yeah.
who was the other one? Natalia Verdugo. She seemed like an interesting character, and then she got killed right away.
Yeah,
First
Verdugo
episode
got
is like, bam, get the fuck out of my way. It was just like, come on, man. Like there were just so many things that became so such a trope and things like that, and like
mm,
it was just like, yeah, they were. And again, I don't get me wrong, I enjoyed watching it,
hmm.
but I know everything that's wrong with it.
Yeah,
So,
I enjoyed it. I felt like I was entertained. There was several different scenes that I did enjoy, certain character points that they did adjust. But there were too many things, like you said, out of the continuity of it that kind of took me out of it at times. And as we were covering it, me and Dimitri were just constantly talking about references and what they had from the original Toho series to what they're trying to do with this one.
right,
He actually mentioned the that little machine that they were going to go get and steal from Apex that they took, and they had that little side mission that looked like the eye from Mechagodzilla, like one of the
yeah,
eyes from Mechagodzilla. So they were like, he referenced that, and then there was like a ton of little references. I like that we got Cliff Curtis in there as the head of like Apex that was coming in to help out Monarch. I like that it was elusive. It kind of told, it was their first encounter with Monarch at this point
right.
with Apex. And they literally came in and basically fudged everything up for Monarch. And now they're deemed the bad people. And we already know this ahead of time by the time we watched the films, because in the films we knew they were bad.
Right. And here's what gets to me. It's like, so like Amber Midthunder, who plays Isabel,
Hmm.
that's another useless character. And I say that because somehow it turns out that she wants to use Access Mundi for more of a, let's just say, freezing time for
Hmm.
medical purposes or whatever it is, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I'm like, okay, that makes no fucking sense. What they
No.
should be doing, or what they should have done, is that if they cannot afford, is if it was because they couldn't bring the original actor from uh Kong versus, I forgot the guy from
Godzilla versus Kong.
yeah, the guy in charge of
Oh,
Apex. What
yeah,
was
who
his
is a
name?
Japanese guy too, I believe.
Was no, he was a Spanish guy.
Oh, I'm forgetting. Oh, yeah, because yeah, they were working together. Yep.
Right, right. So the guy or the multimillionaire who, created, I guess, Mecha Godzilla, right?
Hmm. Yep.
Have him come into the show. All right.
Hmm.
Just be blunt about it. Go, okay, we know where this is going. Okay, this is a guy coming in. Instead, oh, it's his daughter. And his daughter has something completely different in mind, or she hasn't revealed what, like, it's so all over the place.
Hmm.
Like they're referencing the movies, but they're trying to kind of like divert it or something. So I'm it's like sometimes it is a little confusing. I'm like, why would you do that?
Yeah, it sounded to me like the way they were going within the show is trying to have its own thing in the show, where and reference certain key points within the movies, even though they're in between movies at this point, and they could have brought in Sarazawa of all things, because at the time during King of the Monsters, Sarazawa was still alive before he takes that little trip down into the Never Never Land to go see Godzilla, and he gets burned
Yeah.
alive.
I mean, it'd be great to see Ken Watanabe just, reprise his role or something like that. Or
Yeah.
or some of the people. Like I just feel like there's some missed opportunities. And somehow the only thing that they will reference is just the monsters from those movies, but none
Hmm.
of the characters.
Exactly, because you would think of Millie Bobby Brown's character at one point too. What's her name? Vera Farmiga in
Right.
there as well, and her and the husband or the ex-husband or whatever, and their references and how they were, because literally they were calling these monsters in that film, but yet Hiroshi had like a machine that created it. That's how Shaw
Right.
was able to call Godzilla very much the same thing, other than that thing that Vera Farmiga's character was able to do was control the monsters with some sort of sound manipulation and
Right,
whatnot.
right. Yeah, like I said, it was all over the place. I wanted like I really wanted more of the lore of Monarch.
Hmm.
If they were gonna if like Kate's story is about how she hates the Titans. And
Hmm.
there's this moment in season 1 where when Godzilla wakes up, Godzilla looks at her directly,
Yeah.
right? And she even says it, he looked at me. I would have rather have them explore that relationship between Kate and Godzilla, not Kate and freaking Monster
Titan
X or
X.
whatever, or the
Yeah.
Titan X. Like I said, again, who gives a shit about Titan X? But if they would explore that with Godzilla, where
Hmm.
somehow all of a sudden she has some connection with him, that would have been great. That would have been, hey, okay, that's something to explore. But it just seems like there was just some missed opportunities, and I don't understand why.
Same
Unless
here.
she's like this, unless she's like a Titan, whisperer or something like that,
Yeah.
where now she could talk to all Titans.
Yeah, like
But
the little girl in uh if you remember Godzilla versus Kong, the little girl who was
yeah,
mute and she would sign language and she would be able to communicate with Kong.
Exactly. I mean, then have her all of a sudden, she's the one that communicates with, Godzilla. And then, okay, towards the end of the whatever, season 3 or season 4, whatever it is, then
Mm,
Kate just fucking bites the dust or she disappears or something like that, where, she's probably in Hollow Earth, living with Godzilla, happily ever after. I don't know. I'm just saying that the whole thing is that just that part of it, I felt like, wow, when he looked at her, there's something there that they could there's a story that they could explore,
mm.
and they didn't. It was just like, oh, okay, that happened once, whatever, blah blah blah. And then they made it into this Titan X is the one that she has a connection with.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of things. I thought Keiko's story didn't really go anywhere.
Hmm. Yeah, she's still a woman out of time. They kind of reference it when Tim talks about Monarch and how
Right,
she's revered. And when she says something now, they take it seriously because she is a scientist. And she goes, well, that didn't really happen in my time. Women were not accepted
right.
as being equals and whatnot in this. But yeah,
Like
they
I
didn't.
felt like with Kate, think about this. If you are a scientist and all of a sudden you are thrown into the future,
Mm,
everything you see should be a curiosity.
yes. Like the
Everything.
machines that they were using and
Right.
things like that. Oh, it's like, oh, this what is this? Oh, that's a computer.
Right. From computers to what do you mean everybody walks around with a phone? What do you mean that iPods? What is this? Wireless iPods? They have wireless now? Little things like that would remind the audience, oh, this is a woman out of time.
Hmm.
There could have been one moment where, like, let's say they for like it could be 5 minutes, but where all of a sudden, she sits down and she starts to watch television or something like that. And instead of a tiny TV, it's on a 65 or 85-inch TV, and she's like, they got movie theater now in people's homes, like stuff like that, where the world around her
Mm,
should be shocking, but
yeah.
so intriguing to her because of how she's a scientist, and none of that, and remember, this is a scientist from what era? 1940s or 1940s, was it? Yeah, because
50s, pretty much.
50s,
40s
right,
into the 50s. But
in the
yeah.
50s or whatever it is. So it's like the shit. I mean, from the 50s to now, there have been so many innovations that she should just be like, wait a minute. What do you mean about this? Or like, there was one thing where it's like, oh, people went to the moon. They went to the moon? I mean, like, stuff like that makes me want to be more interested in her because of her amazement of the world and how far we've come, but at the same time, how technology has also been a detriment to the world too in certain cases.
Yeah.
So those are little things that they could have explored, um, which will kind of give you a sense of, hey, this poor person is just so out of time, or mention something. Okay, we need to do this or this or this, and they're like, dude, we've done that, and now you could do it,
Mm,
in 2 seconds instead of waiting around for it for a week or whatever it is.
yep.
Things like that where it's like where like make her feel so out of time where she feels useless. She feels like, what can I do? I can't contribute anything.
Yeah, that's we never seen that at all. Even when she was exploring Kate's powers of communication at the
Right.
dock at that point, and they were utilizing older technology too. If you take a look at it, it's like reel to reel tapes and things like that. And I'm
Right.
like, all right, so where's the new technology? Why isn't she taking some of that they have on the ship to utilize to, and why? Because she doesn't know how to use it. There's no explanation of why they had this older
Right.
tech there,
No, they just have these little moments where it's like, oh wow, that looks amazing, and then that's it. And it's like, I would love to see this character throughout the entire season was just like her trying to catch up to the world that she's in now.
Hmm.
Granted that she is out of time because she didn't get to see her son grow up.
Hmm.
And so much of the world has passed by her. But
Yeah, there was
I
an
felt
opportunity
there was
with
an
Tokyo.
opportunity there. Yeah, there
In
was an
Tokyo, when
opportunity.
they were walking in downtown Tokyo, what do you see all around you? All these huge interactive signs and video on buildings as
I
like
mean,
Times
if it would have
Square.
been me, I would have had like my mouth throughout the entire series is always open.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but to her, it's like, well, okay, the world has changed. Moving on, and granted that you got these giant kaiju's that want to destroy everything, and I'm
Yeah,
sure
to
that's more
suspend your
important.
disbelief because that's part of the show.
But I think they should ground it into a little more reality in the sense of, wow, okay, this person is, like if you ever have seen movies where somebody's out of time.
Hmm.
They explore those little things where like, oh, they're trying to turn on a TV or they're trying, oh, and it's like the funniest thing where like, they don't know
What it
how to
is.
turn this on. And when it does, they're shocked about it. And they're like, wow, have a moment like that. I understand she's a scientist, but have a moment like that or
Yeah.
something where it just gives you that, oh, this poor person. Um, even how can I say they touched upon a little bit of how and she did say it, but back in the 50s, because she's a doctor, they never called her doctor because
Correct.
one, she was a woman, and two, because she was Japanese, which of course during the war, you know so you would think, exploring how far women have come in the world today,
Hmm.
and at the same time how women has still been are still being held back in a lot of ways. Maybe something of that in there, just to kind of show it's like, wow, I see a lot of things have changed.
Hmm.
Women have gone into space. uh the contributions women have done in science is absolutely amazing and incredible, but a lot of the old ways still exist when it comes to the way women are treated. That's something to explore too. It just seems like there was a missed opportunity with Keiko. There was a lot of missed opportunities here. That's how I see it.
Mm.
Maybe season three might do something a little better that way, but that's what I saw on my part. And then, of course, Amiko, uh, you know, um, what is it? Kantaro's mother,
Oh, yes.
nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, well, you only get to see Kate's mom for half a moment when she goes back to San Francisco to party to
And
get
that's it.
away. And then they have a conversation and how we had a funeral for you. What? We thought you were dead because she disappeared for
Yeah.
so long. And then they accept it. And then she goes back. Oh, I got to do this. I have to go back now. Why? You just left there. You were in danger every day.
It's yeah. It was just. It's like, okay, we got to rush into the next thing. Then why show her? Why show? You know what? Show mom. In season three. Don't show her in season two. Give her an entire season where she doesn't see her mom doesn't see, and then she's really shocked, going, "What the hell? Where did you come from?"
Exactly.
And then explore that relationship, because obviously they had that relationship between Kate's mother and her. Seems like there's some kind of friction there
There is.
in certain things, and I wish they could explore a little bit more of that.
Mhm.
Um, there's the entire area of San Francisco that is closed down where nobody could go in. Okay, cool. Um, maybe they could explore a little of that too. I don't know. Like they I don't know. There's just certain things that like keep me interested, because hey, you keep reminding me of what happened in the movie.
With Bryan Cranston's character when they went back to Japan, where they had the lockdown after Godzilla or whatever it was at the time with the reactor or whatever, and his wife died in there.
Explore that, right?
Yeah,
Explore
kind of
that.
like
There was a
Chernobyl.
there was a cave that had a skeleton of Godzilla.
Hmm.
Remember in that movie?
Yep.
You know, explore that. oh, there's has you because you they make it seem like Godzilla has been around for
forever. He's
forever.
eternal, and they try to allude that's how Axis Monday is changed it, and that's how he's able to jump from one place to the next because he's utilizing it just like Kong
Right.
is our which he did not know of until Godzilla X Kong. If you remember that, so because you get the little people
Yeah.
and you got the other gorillas down there.
Well, no, he actually knew about it in Godzilla versus Kong.
Mm,
That's where all of a sudden he's like, oh, there's a like Godzilla. All of a sudden is like, wow, there's a new world. You would think Kong in Kong Island would know
mm.
that he sees these the skull crawlers and all these things going into a hole. At some point, you sure Kong would have been like, "What is this?" And next thing you know, he falls through the hole and then comes back,
Yeah.
right? But no, they and again, it's just I feel like they're trying to retcon the entire movies, but they can't because guess what? The movies are going to continue.
Hmm.
So I would love to see how they put all this together. I would love to see how they could tie much better, how they could write much better
Mm.
character development than what they did in this last season.
I think they
Um,
need dedicated writers, not paid writers to come in for the show. And I think that's what they were doing, like most other shows do. If
oh,
they
that's
had
that.
one dedicated writer per for the season, or if not, and then have a plan together of the characters in relation to the film, and then have that continuity work out properly. That there was a lot of things when
I
Stranger
would say
Things was out.
make it seem like because
Hmm.
that again another opportunity to miss. Make it seem like this is taking place at the same time as this in the movies, right?
Correct.
So you bring in an element of what was happening in the movie, or what happened in the movie, or
Hmm.
what's about to happen in a movie,
In the
and
show,
make it seem like, hey, I hear about this happening in so and so country, and like
the
or like
reference.
a reference, some kind of reference. I know they referenced Rodan at
Hmm.
the end of the season, but Rodan was in the movie. Correct me if I'm wrong. It seems like it was the first time they seen it.
It was. Did I? It's so funny too because you mentioned that he was in a movie, and I forgot that he was in the movie. But somebody recently posted it saying, "Oh, this is the first time this Titan or this monster has been seen in 15 years," and I'm like, no, no, we did see him. I believe in King of the Monsters. They did reference it
In King of the Monsters, he was referenced, or not in King of the
or seen.
Monster. No, no. So King of the Monsters. No, in King of the Monsters, he was fighting with Godzilla and King Ghidorah. King Ghidorah and Rodan were fighting against Godzilla and
Hmm.
Mothra.
Yes.
So, and I know that the whole legend of like the Phoenix and all that stuff, they were talking about it, I believe, in King of the Monsters,
Hmm.
which what they were referring to Rodan. But I don't know, it just seems like all of a sudden all these Titans started to wake up in
At the
King of the
same time.
Monsters
Yeah.
at the same time.
Hmm.
So how is it that Rodan, which was in I forgot. All of a sudden he's in the other side of the world, I think,
Hmm.
because it's not even the same volcano.
Nope.
I don't know. It's just again, just things just don't make sense to me. I'm like, and yet I like this stupid show, but it just they just didn't make any sense to me.
That's what happens. It's like we get so wrapped up into it. Like you said, well, like you said, they hit it. I think they hit it out of the park when they did the first season. They did something that was unique, very original. We were
Yeah.
all excited for it. And then we finally get the new season. It took a little while for them to put out another season, but now we see some of the cracks in the armor of what's going on and how they're writing it.
Yeah. I
Now,
feel like
hopefully, they'll take some sort of advice from the fans or people who because now that they are greenlit for season three, maybe they'll take that and say, "Oh, okay, this is what we got to do writing wise."
Right, right. I wish they would have just gotten the rights because listen, they took Kong, which was I believe Kong is American made.
It is.
They took Godzilla and they merged them. All right.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Why couldn't they do the same thing with Gamera?
That is also what me and Dimitri were talking about. He did it was I forget what anniversary it was for Gamera, and he covered that on his YouTube. But he actually mentioned that. He goes, "You would think, but they're Gamera's not part of Toho, so it's a different company that created
Kong
it."
is not part of Toho either. That's
I
what I'm
know,
saying. So
but
they
it's Warner
could
Brothers. It's Warner Brothers, and that's why Warner Brothers is in association with Legendary. So they already have the rights and capability for that. So they would have to work with the Korean company that created Gamera.
Gamera is not Korean.
I thought it was Korean.
Gamera is Japanese.
Is Japanese? Okay.
Now you're gonna make me look that up.
Yeah, I'm curious because I always thought it was Korean, but it was definitely a different film company, not
Right,
Toho, at one point.
right,
Uh,
right.
but which is funny too because Kong, they did King Kong Escapes in Japan on Toho, and they did the whole Godzilla versus King Kong. So that was a legendary kind of movie in itself that everybody wanted to see that. Of course, it
Right.
had two different endings, Americanized and a Japanese one.
So it says here, Gamera, the iconic Japanese kaiju, was created by Dai Film in 1965 to rival Toho Godzillas.
Yeah,
So it is Japanese.
it is Japanese. Okay.
Yeah. So they could have just said, "Hey, listen, I know you would never work with Toho, but work with us. We're gonna put it in. Don't worry. Godzilla is not gonna be Gamera. Gamera is not gonna be, Godzilla. Blah blah blah. The whole thing.
Need to work it together so at least
Oh,
we
they could
have.
work together. Whatever the hell you wanted to do, but bring in Gamera. That would be a freaking cool, a cool, way to bring that in there.
Yeah, it would be.
Um, oh, I think that would have been awesome. At first, when I saw King of the Monsters. And I saw all these monsters rising up. I'm like, tell me they're gonna have Gamera in here. Tell me that they just secretly put that in there. That would be freaking awesome, but they didn't.
No.
But yeah, my again, my thoughts on this entire season was that you could tell they spent a little bit more money,
Yes.
but I think the success of the first show,
Hmm.
they're like, well, how are we gonna continue this? And they went a little crazy with it, and I'm hoping they could kind of make it a little tighter on the third season and make it a lot more interesting. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hope we'll see what happens. Uh, all right. I think the next time we'll actually do something will probably be for this. It would probably be for Godzilla minus zero when that comes out. That's going to be interesting when it does. There's a lot of references
I've
of like what is the monster that he's going to be battling in that particular film.
right. I've tried to watch Godzilla minus one in black
Again,
and white and color and all. I'm trying to, how can I say? I want to like it just like everybody else is, but I just can't find a way to like it. Same thing with Godzilla. What is it? Shin Godzilla. Oh, everybody thinks Shin Godzilla is absolutely awesome. I'm like, that to me is a garbage movie.
it's a
But
one-off. I saw that in the theater, and I just laughed because it was at a time, and they're talking possibly that they would do that in Toho, bring a sequel to it to make people more aware of it. I always thought it was like Godzilla, Hellraiser Godzilla. That's how I think of it.
yeah, it just like all I'm saying is like, what is it? His bottom lip splits. Oh, like I'm telling you, there was just so many things about it that I just sat there and I'm like, and I got it on, I think I got it on Apple TV through iTunes for $5. And I was like, I want my $5 back. But it's just the tadpole stage was just the stupidest thing with the eye. It had like these googly eyes or
It
something like
did,
that.
yeah, and it kind of slothed through. It had stages of evolution that
Ah,
they kind of try to work out so that way they can make it original for its time, and it was like the first time in a long time that Godzilla was more of a menace than he
yeah,
was a savior or anything. So they were trying to bring it back to a more modernized evil Godzilla, even though what was it? Godzilla SOS, all monsters attack,
right,
and that was the all the souls that were lost during the bombings of like Hiroshima and all that.
right.
That were taking their revenge on the modern world, and that's why Godzilla has white eyes. I thought that was the best looking suit that they ever had for a long time, but we
Mm.
also got some weird characters in there too, like Dimitri wanted Varan in certain stages. He goes, "Why can't we get Varan? They only had Varan in Destroy All Monsters." And I said, "Yeah, the only reason why we saw him at a distance was the suit was so far destroyed by the time they did the original Destroy All Monsters that they could only use like a little model in the background, watch it fly."
Oh, okay, yeah. I know nothing about like I'm not really into a lot of the kaiju Toho things
Yeah,
because I just every time I watch them, I just think they look stupid. I mean,
silly.
absolutely stupid and
Yeah,
silly. Even the first Godzilla, which I have to look, the first Godzilla, it's
54
great,
Godzilla. Yeah.
but it's still a stupid man in a suit. So to me, it's
Yep.
like okay, it looks silly, but I understood the story and I understood why this story existed. It was
Hmm.
basically an answer to, of course, the atomic bomb that got dropped in Japan.
Hmm.
But then every movie after that is just this silliness that you go, come like Baby Godzilla and
Oh
all
god,
like all these
Manila. Yeah, yeah.
all these
I
stupid things.
yeah, I have my own issues with certain like the actual Showa era where they transition. It meant they were trying to make it more kid friendly, so they made him kind of more goofy-ish.
Oh my God.
And
It just
then later on, by the 80s they bring it back. It was more menacing, which was Godzilla 84. For us it was 85. They brought back Raymond Burr for that, and then they continued on after that, and then it started with the 89, which is the Heisei series, which ran from 89 up into the late to mid to late 90s, and then we got the millennium or
right.
era of the series, which was more tech based. You had more advanced suits, better effects, things like that. But it was still it's Japan's pride of everything when it comes to film has
Yeah.
more. Yeah, that series has more movies than James Bond
No,
at this
I
point.
understand. I just I don't know. I just sometimes I see it and I go, wow. Well, I mean, how can I say Japan being having, of course, their own different culture and everything. They are proud of their monster, which they should be.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, and trust me, I think Japan, the fact that they are probably more into modern pop culture and stuff like that, because
Yep.
if you look at their society, I'm about to go to Japan next year.
Oh, okay.
And so that's definitely one of the things that I want to definitely experience firsthand. Is it like, I mean, you have a giant Gundam. Like there's so many things that are just really cool. I'm sure that we
Hmm.
don't have here because, of course, our society takes itself too serious sometimes. So that's going to be interesting. But the TV shows, I mean, from Power Rangers to the Godzilla stuff, everything was always a man in a suit, and it's just so
Yeah.
hokey and
Even
stuff like that.
Spider Man.
Yeah, not that our we didn't have our own share of stuff. The one thing I don't recall, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, is
Hmm.
if Japan did a lot of Ray Harryhausen type of movies, with stop motion, things like
Hmm.
that. in back in the like 40s and 50s.
Hmm.
All I've ever seen is a man in a suit. So
Yeah, literally, because it was cheaper for them. It wasn't time intrusive for them. The only time they used stop motion, they did use stop motion in the original 1954 Godzilla. They did have like a scene where that they utilized a stop motion, and it wasn't the guy in the suit. It wasn't Haruo
oh,
Nakajima. Yeah,
okay. I didn't know that. So
yeah,
yeah, but like I said before, I'm hoping that season three kind of starts to tie things together and make it interesting and make you go, oh, I understand why these things happen,
mm,
right?
yeah,
So many times where you appreciate something a lot more when they really dive into it. So, good examples of that.
yeah.
I was never a big fan of the story Andor from Star Wars. Andor was
Oh
based
yeah,
off what was the
yeah.
movie?
Oh, Rogue One.
Rogue One, right? I wasn't a fan of Rogue One,
Hmm. Okay.
but as soon as I saw Andor, the
Mm-hmm.
series, right, especially the second season, which is
Mm.
almost perfection, I appreciated Rogue One so much now. And I like it now so much because now I know all the stuff because of that,
Where it came
um,
from, yeah.
where it came from and things like that. So I hope they could do something like that where it's like, hey, season three wasn't great, but let's say if season two wasn't great, but season three,
Mm.
when it ties it all in, bam. Same thing with like, I think Marvel did the same thing with Thor: The Dark World. A lot of people always consider Thor: The Dark World to be like the lowest one out of the
Yeah,
first
the one
10
that
years.
the one movie everybody skips.
The one
That
movie everybody skips, but then all of a sudden in Endgame, right? So
yeah,
they went back to that, and now it makes you appreciate Thor: The Dark World because you know what's going on
yeah,
in the background of Thor: The Dark World. So you go, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. Now I know. So I could now appreciate this movie a little more because how it ties into
yeah,
somehow it ties into Endgame. So I'm hoping they do the same thing with Godzilla. It's like tie it all in, man. Just make me appreciate do something awesome where it's just I mean if they could do something like that with Andor for
hmm,
Rogue One, do the same thing, man, with this. I mean, make this series make the third season so kick-ass where now you go back to the other two seasons and you go back to the movies and you go, oh my God, there is so much this now I appreciate this so much more because of that season three, the way what they explained and how they did it.
yeah.
But we'll just have to see.
Exactly. All right. Well, with that, I think those were our thoughts overall for season two of Monarch Legacy of Monsters that can be found on Apple TV Plus. Everybody, just want to thank Rob for coming on and having fun and having this discussion.
Oh, well, thank you, man. I haven't done this in a while, so I appreciate it. I got out of the podcast business. And, so
You
when I
just
come when I
you
come
just come
on,
on to
it's just
play.
yeah, I just come to play and it's actually fun.
Yeah. But for you listeners who are out there, you could hear Rob. We have some episodes on Adrenaline Cinema Podcast as well as Pounds to Pixels. He makes an appearance, so that's where you could be hearing him at times. When we do that, we'll get the Filmtropolis crew together every once in a while and do something here and there. Just like with Frank Rodriguez and myself when we covered the Wraith from 1986 recently. So we'll have
Nice.
more stuff coming
Wow,
out.
that is an old movie.
Yeah, 40 years old.
Holy crap.
But yeah, I could be heard here as always on Kaiju Cast podcast, as well as Pounds the Pixels podcast, the Sandman cast, obviously the Fang cast that could be found on Adrenaline Cinema podcast when we come back with the interview with a vampire season two, which is entitled Vampire Lestat. So you'll be hearing Lara, Billy, myself, Becky, and a whole bunch of crew come back again talking about Vampire Lestat. You could just check that out when that comes out. Steve and I just completed for Pounds to Pixels the Punisher One Last Kill. So you have that to look forward to. And, for all that stuff, all you have to do is get back to us with your feedback if you like what we had to say or you had different opinion about what we discussed or for any other show that we've done before. For all that, literally all you have to do is go to our website, pyrocoreentertainment.com, and all the links are there. Not for Kaiju Cast yet. I have yet to build and work on that. That's going to be my next weekend's project. But for you to send direct feedback to us here, literally all you have to do is send it at kaijukastpodcast@gmail.com. You could find us on Instagram and Facebook. All you have to do is go to Kaiju Cast or at Kaiju Cast _podcast for Instagram. And for Facebook, it's facebook.com Kaiju Cast Podcast. All one word. We can be found on YouTube as well. But that's how you could get back to us and let us know your thoughts, your theories. But
I'm sure a lot of people have their own thoughts.
I'm sure they do.
And again, I'm sure I got a lot of things wrong. I would love to hear from people and let me know where, on maybe some of my facts that were probably wrong. Again, not a big kaiju, I'm not a big kaiju fan that way. I love Godzilla, especially the new Godzilla and stuff like that. But the lore, I'm still not very 100% with.
Yeah, they changed it. Legendary is a little different.
Yeah. So yeah, let us know.
All right, so with that, I just want to thank everybody for listening. I'm Mark.
And I am Rob.
Don't get stomped on, everybody. Bye-bye.